Welcome to the Revel Digital Agency Podcast, a show dedicated to helping lawyers and law firms thrive in the online space. Whether your firm is a major player in the national market or just getting started, keep listening to learn about the latest digital marketing trends and tools to help you engage with the best clients using targeted and responsive online marketing strategies. And now here's your host, the founder and CEO of Revel Digital Agency, Whitley Ville.
Hello and welcome to the Revel Digital Agency Podcast. My name is Whitley Ville, owner of Revel Agency, and I'd like to thank you for joining me for today's episode. In today's episode, I want to talk about how paramount it is to track the metrics of any digital marketing campaign that you run for your law firm. Why is it so important to have a digital marketing metric system or looking at the metrics? Well, the metric system kind of confirms or it tells you that it's what is not working when you're running a digital campaign. So if you run a digital campaign, you're not getting leads from the campaign, or if it's costing you too much money, you look at the metrics and you can see what's working and what's not working, and you could adjust your strategy accordingly. I just think it's very important to have the metrics down because you want to know how you're using your money, A, and B, what type of people are coming to view your ads. So if you are a criminal attorney, but people that are not looking for criminal attorneys are looking at your ads, that's going to waste a lot of money, and your metric system will show you're not getting in front of the right people for your campaign to be successful. So that's why having metrics is very important to view whenever you run a digital campaign. It could save you lots of money and time when doing that, because if you were just to run a campaign blindly, like, all right, so let me create a digital campaign and not check the numbers, then you won't know what works. You don't know where your dollars are going. You don't know where the people are coming from. Then all of a sudden, you're down $10,000 on your Amex card and you realize, oh man, we didn't run a good campaign. So some important terms I want to discuss is definitely crucial when you're looking at these numbers, because just because you have numbers in front of you doesn't mean you'll understand what they're talking about while looking at any digital marketing campaign sheet or metric system. One is direct visitors. So basically a direct visitor is someone who types into a search bar or the address bar in Google or Safari, whatever internet browser they use, and they type in your law firm. So if they type in www.yourlawfirm.com and they go directly to your page, that is a direct visitor. And direct visitors are definitely different from what another important term I have written down is an organic visitor. So organic visitor is when someone's searching for a criminal attorney. Let's say someone's searching for a criminal attorney in Miami. What they'll do is search, and if they see your website and they click on it, boom, that's an organic visitor. Now, here's a term that I know we all, especially you being in the law field, is a referral. So referral is just almost the same thing in the digital marketing world, is when somebody visits your website after clicking on someone else's link. So someone else posted a link about you and they go to your website, that's referral. Here's another term that you may see if you were to check any campaigns out, is the total website visits. So that's the total amount of people that visited your website per campaign. I don't think this number is very important because, this number can be looked at many different ways. So for example, let's say a criminal attorney in North Carolina only has 100 people, but they're converting 30 people or 40 people out of that. That's a pretty good campaign that they run. But if you live in Manhattan, you have 10,000 people looking at your site, but only 2 are actually clicking on it or doing some type of call to action. Then we could say, even though the attorney in North Carolina has less people visiting their website, their conversion rate is much more than the person who is in Manhattan running their campaign. So total website visit, you'll see that on some of your tracking system or metrics when you're looking at any campaign, but I don't think this is too important. I think this is probably one of those, you know what, you can do without these terms. Now, let's say if you have a social media visitors. So that's basically someone who went on social media and they found your website and they clicked on it. Obviously, that's a social media visitor. And then the paid visitor is someone that, so if you paid to put an ad up and they clicked on the ad, that is a paid visitor. Another important thing is a bounce rate. So if someone looks at your website, right, and they looked at it for like 2 or 3 seconds, they're like, not for me, and they leave, that's going to lead to a high bounce rate. And you want to keep your bounce rate as low as possible, because that shows that whomever is clicking on your site, that site is not for them. So if you see a high bounce rate on any of your campaigns, you want to see what's going on. Are you not in front of the right people? Is your website not really that good? Is it hard to navigate? Some questions you want to ask yourself, and maybe you want to do an internal review on your website or digital marketing campaign and see why the bounce rate is so high. Now, here's a neat thing that I think you should know. The number of new visitors that you get to the number of returning visitors. So the new visitors is obviously someone who's never seen your website and they're coming there for the very first time. Maybe they found you on that paid ad, organic search, social media referral, etc. And they're looking at you the first time and they're just checking out your pages. Versus someone who's looked at your pages before and they're just a return visitor. Maybe they're making the final decision on whether to call you or not, or whether you're the best guy to represent them in court. That's pretty much what a return visitor is. So when you look at those two numbers, you'll see, hey, you know what? I have a lot of return visitors. Maybe you adjust your strategy accordingly to the return visitors versus someone who's brand new and they don't know who you are, but just checking out information. Now, mobile traffic, that's just the amount of people who are viewing your ad on the phone. So if you get a lot of mobile traffic users versus desktop users, or it's kind of 50-50 between the two, you could always adjust your campaign to target just their desktop users and as another target to target mobile users. This one, I don't think is that important. You could always adjust your campaign to be responsive or, just to view as one person. So the mobile traffic is a term, but not very important in digital marketing campaigns, in my opinion. Now, here's the very, very important term that I think that will be on pretty much any digital marketing campaign metric system or metrics that you view, is the click-through rate. This is probably the number one thing that people look at, is what's your click-through rate on any campaign. So basically what it is the amount of people that click on your specific link to the people that view your link. So for example, if your website was viewed 100 times and 3 people were to click on that website, well, there you go. You have a 3% click-through rate on that campaign, just to make things simple. Another important term I think you should know is an engagement rate. So an engagement rate are more for your posting about news about the law firm or about the community. And if you post it, you'll see what your engagement rate is to that. So if you have a high engagement rate on certain posts, but a low engagement on other posts, then I would stick, okay, so what are the topics that are getting a high engagement, and probably stick with that, because then you could toss the ones with low engagement rate to the side and just run with the higher engagement rate. So for example, if you're posting something about the community and you're getting a low engagement rate, if you talk about any new cases that you have and you have a low engagement rate, I wouldn't really post those as often as if you were to post maybe a case study that you save their verdict and you get them a non-guilty verdict, or you get someone a lawsuit through a lot of money, and you see the engagement rate are more on those type of posts. Then I would focus on those posts and put them out and see what you can do to keep your customers and clients to contact you to represent them in court. Now, those are some basic terms I think you should know about when looking at any type of metric system. Obviously, the higher the number is, the better. But when you're looking at these metrics, you want to know, how are they helping your law firm? So if you looking at all these metrics, you're spending a lot of money, and you realize that it's not working, maybe it's time to change the message or shift your strategy when running a campaign. Because, campaigns are, meant to, establish your brand name of your law firm. Some people don't know who you are, and you just want to make sure that you get in front of them and letting them know how you can represent them in court. And also you could, build a deeper relationship with some of the clients that view your ads or some type of campaign that you're running. Also, it's just very important to track your metrics so you can see what exactly is working and what's not working. If looking at these metric systems are very tough to look at, or you're not quite understanding what each metric system is, what I would do is just look at each term. You can Google it and just find out the term that you're searching in Google. If you could just understand that one term, you go one by one, and then all of a sudden you'll be able to understand any of these marketing metric system when they're put in front of you, and you'll be like, okay, so you know what, we ran a YouTube ad, we got some clients here, we're gonna run with the YouTube ads. Or you know what, we ran a campaign on Facebook, it didn't really go that well, we wasted X amount of dollars, let's just stick with YouTube. You know, those are the type of decisions that you'll be making when looking at some of these digital marketing metrics. So a brief overview of today's episode is just, you want to set specific targets and monitor the data that you get consistently. The data, what it tells you, it either confirms digital marketing campaigns are working, or you may have to shift your strategy on what campaign that you should be running. All right. My name is Whitley Ville, and I want you to show how proper legal representation is done, and take care.